Hey everybody, today I'm doing another update on some of the containers I planted up earlier in the season, and this is from two separate videos, and I have to say they're doing pretty well. I have some commentary on each one because none of them are perfect, but that's okay. We don't expect perfection. We just want our plants to perform well. This one here, I had picked it specifically because I wanted to find a use for the Best Blue Isotoma, and unfortunately, it's the Best Blue Isotoma that decided to stop blooming once it got hot. Now, I have grown Best Blue before, and I don't remember having that issue. I had it in my deck rail boxes 2 years ago, and I usually remember if a plant misbehaves, and I don't remember the Best Blue going out of bloom. That said, it may have done what this container's done, where the other plants have really taken off and have been stealing the show, and I just didn't notice those blooms were missing. Regardless, this container is still growing very, very well. The one that's stealing the show, though, is this pink Itsy Petunia. This is fantastic. It's been growing so well, blooming nonstop, complete flower coverage, absolutely love it. The Cha-Cha Yellow Calibrachoa has been doing really well. We've had a lot of rain and a lot of heat lately, and I noticed since then it has been kind of a little lackluster. It's not as covered in flowers. The flowers are a little bit smaller. Calibrachoa do like to dry down between waterings, so I think all this heavy rain and this heat is actually having an effect on it. But I will give you a little spin around on this. You can see, I mean, this Itsy Petunia is fantastic. There's 3 colors of Itsy's and I love all of them, but this pink has something really special about it. I think it's just that soft color. It gets that great flower coverage. It's been fantastic. So this one, everything's going pretty well. Do have to say that the Best Blue, though, shoot, I'm not ready to give up on Best Blue yet, though, because I love it when it's in bloom. I love how it behaves in the container too, because it just fills in. I mean, it's doing its thing. It's holding its own against the other plants as well. Just not blooming right now, doggone it. Now this one here, this one I'm especially proud of because for a lot of people, they wouldn't expect to see Lobelia blooming in July, because Lobelia has this famous reputation for just petering out as soon as it gets hot. It's done, there's no hope. And fortunately, a lot of the new varieties can handle a lot more heat. So this is the Hot Plus variety, also like the Techno variety and the, what is it? Which one is the proven winners one? Laguna. And then I know that there's another one coming out from Ball. I'll put it on the screen. That one's supposed to be more heat tolerant. The important thing though with Lobelia and hot temperatures is you cannot let them dry out at all. If they run out of water, they just shrivel up to nothing and look terrible, and it takes a long time for them to come back. And I can see that this planter has been needing more water than normal. Before it was well behaved. I was watering once a day, it was fine. On those hot days, I am now watering this one, I'm gonna say 1.5 times a day. So it does like more water than it did before. So bigger container could help, but that's gonna be the nature. This is really packed full too. It's really full of plants. It's overflowing right now, but I can see there are some spots under here where the Lobelia has kind of dried out a little bit, and I think those are just from those couple of days where it was a little drier and I didn't get to the watering in time. Plectranthus has been a lot of fun. This is a very interesting trailing plant because you can see it has a bit of a party going on with some bedhead at the top and then really long trailing arms going down. So eventually all of these will just keep going down. So they start out upwards and head down. And then I have the Calliope dark red geranium in here, which is getting swallowed up, but these geraniums usually can hold their own. I was hoping I'd see more flowers on it. There are a bunch on here, but they're definitely getting a little bit swallowed up by some of the other plants. So those are doing well, but I think if I didn't have that concern that the Lobelia might peter out at some point, because if I miss watering that, I'll just have just have the Plectranthus in there. I'm always tempted to say maybe I won't do that geranium in there because this would look really good without it. However, if I miss a watering, then I'm going to lose the Lobelia, and a pot of Plectranthus, although nice, wouldn't necessarily be my first choice. So doing well so far, taking up water. This one's also starting to take up a lot more water. So this is another one on hot days. It takes, 1.5. This container is quite small though. This urn is, I'm gonna guess, what is it? A 12 or 13 inch basket of urn. So that's a little bit small for that many plants, I think, but it's holding up pretty well. And then this one here has that Gaura, and you can see this Gaura is absolutely beautiful. I love this wispy kind of cottage garden feeling that the Gaura gives. It's just a really nice one. It's very easy to grow too. I mean, I just keep it watered, give it a little fertilizer, it just keeps going. And then even if it dries out, it does bounce back. And then I have it here with a Petchoa, and I'm not totally sold on these new Enviva Petchoas. They're good, and like I'm getting a decent amount of flowers, but they're a little leggy. And I noticed that with the pink and especially the blue, and I don't know, they're okay. They're doing okay. They don't look the way that I saw them in the trial gardens. And I'm wondering if maybe they just like more fertilizer, but I fertilize these once a week. I don't really want to do more fertilizer than that. And I haven't experimented with fertilizing more or less or anything like that. So I'm not sure what to make of these Petchoas. So I'm a little on the fence with it. It looks pretty good. I mean, I'm not complaining about this container, but I feel like I could have got the same effect with some of the other petunias. Like I could have put a Super Petunia Mini Vista in here and I would have gotten, I guess, that more of that clustered blanket kind of look. Whereas here, I guess it plays okay with this, you know, wispy kind of nature of this, but you know, I guess I was expecting it to look like the trial gardens where it was these big pillows coming down over the edge, and I'm not feeling that with these quite yet. And I'm wondering too, maybe I'll trim half of it back and see if it comes back fuller and then leave the other half. Maybe, I don't know. I'm always thinking about ways I want to experiment, and then I have to also think about like how much time do I want to put into this, or how much time do I have, and when will I be checking on this again, because I got other things going on. This other one was the blue passion vine, and I will tell you this, I am sold on blue passion vine. Now, it's not showy per se. This is, I think of all these, this is the one with like, you know, the one that wouldn't get you too excited, except this flower is amazing. And it doesn't have a lot of blooms at one time. It kind of opens maybe 1 or 2 blooms each day, and then they fall off really quick. But it has so many blooms that I absolutely love it. And I'm really happy that I put it in here with this Scaevola. This is the Surdiva Fashion Pink, and I really like how they work together, especially because if you look at this flower, the passion flower bloom is so unusual. It looks like AI created it because it has so many weird parts. So one thing is that the petals alternate in colors. So you'll notice that there's kind of a pink one and a white one. And the pink really does go well with that Scaevola that I chose. And then if you look at the inner parts, there's the purple part that sticks out. There's these weird green things that stick out. It's got like a little bit of everything in there. It really does not look real. And I did have some people tell me, like, make sure if you have the blue passion vine that you're fertilizing it a lot if you want to get the blooms. So I've been fertilizing it every week with my other plants, and it's been going and going and going. I have to say, it is nonstop. It is definitely outgrowing this trellis that I'm putting on, but I just keep winding it back in and it's liking it. So I guess that's all a good thing. So this is a very good, fun plant to grow. I'm really loving the purple passion vine. It's just so different from anything else I've grown. Like I said, not going to be showy, not going to get that blanket of color or anything, but definitely something really interesting to kind of tuck into a place, or even having it on the deck. Having these flowers show up every couple days is very enjoyable. Like, it really does bring you this kind of excitement every time one opens. But like I said, flowers are short-lived, but it has lots of them. Now for this one here, I showed this one to you in the last video, and the more I've been looking at it, the more I'm so happy with it. It's so beautiful. I love the petunia in there, but like I said in the last video, that petunia is getting choked out by the grass and the Truffula Pink Gomphrena. And so I thought, you know what? I'm gonna spend some time on this one. I'm gonna pot it up to a bigger size container, and hopefully that'll give the petunia a little bit more room. Now, I say that, and it could end up that the grass just takes up the extra space and I'm back at square one, but I feel like that container is worth trying to get it to do a little bit more. I might end up having the petunia struggling afterwards. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's worth trying. And let me just show you how nice this is from the other side too, because this is something I didn't show you in the last video. So when I turn this around, like, just look at how beautiful that grass is doing. And it really was, once this grass started producing these plumes, that's when it started also sucking down a lot of water as well. So I was watering this a lot. So I think putting it in a bigger container might mean that I won't have to be watching the water quite as closely. And then this Truffula Pink Gomphrena, you can't get much better than this one because it is a drought tolerant one. It blooms all the time. There are spent blooms in here, but you don't notice them because they get buried by the other ones. So I'm always happy about that. The only thing I would say is some of the older branches get a little brittle. So the new branches are really kind of quite flexible, but the old ones will crack off. But don't panic if you crack a branch off. It reshoots and sends something up really quickly. So it does recover from that. But a lot of times people, think that the plant, like they've ruined the plant if it gets a crack. Usually it's not the case. It just gets a little bit brittle sometimes. I'm going to plant this up right now and just kind of see if I can get it into this bigger container without much hassle. So we'll give that a go now. So this is the container I'm going to transplant into. I think it's 22 inches. This is the size of container that it's in right now, a 14-inch. This is the size that Proven Winners recommended for this recipe. I'm so glad I didn't put more in because it's already overstuffed. And this is, you know, I was hoping that because this is a nice deep container that would be able to support all these plants, but I'm finding that's not the case. Now this one here is considered a self-watering container. That's only because it has this shelf in here. And let me tell you this, it has no drainage holes. And I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, if you have one with the shelf in it and it doesn't have a drainage hole, you know, basically you're just putting it in a pot without a drainage hole. It doesn't matter if your soil doesn't go all the way down, if there's this little water pocket at the bottom. This I find useless, and I'm going to put drainage holes in there because unless it has an indicator, I really don't want to mess with it. Now I mentioned indicators. Some of the self-watering pots will have what's called a little indicator, and it tells you how much water is in there. So if I knew I was only putting this much water in, then I would feel completely confident going, okay, at least I know it's full, don't put any more in. But without an indicator, I don't know if I'm filling it up to here, or I could have water up to here. My plants could actually be floating, and that'd be bad news. And I just looked at this and it says it's a 20-inch, not a 22-inch. So now what I'm going to do is add some water. Let's see where this should be at. So I need to put a little soil at the bottom. I'm out of my regular soil, so I'm using this Flower Dew, which is a really nice product from the makers of Dairy Dew, which is a compost product that we use a lot of. It's a Michigan product. I don't know how easy it'll be for other people to find, but here in Michigan, there's a lot of retailers that do carry it. So I need to get this in there. I think that's pretty good. Let's see. Well, I better go a little lower. Just because what I'm doing is I'm feeling, you know, what the soil level is in here, and I want to make sure that it's in a good spot in this other container. I don't want it to be too high up or too low. Okay, so let's see how well I can fill this thing. Oops. Okay, I'm only filling that pot inside of there because it makes it easier for me to fill the outside. I do want to have an empty spot where I'm going to put my other container. Now this is a little bit of a dry mix right now. Sometimes when I open these, they're wetter than this. So I'm going to have to kind of keep an eye on that. So let me get this all packed in around this container, and then I'll show you exactly what I do next. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I don't have it centered, in part because what I'm going to try to do is put that grass toward the back. My thinking is that might give the petunia a little bit of an advantage so that it can keep putting its roots forward. I don't know if that's actually going to benefit or not, but we'll give it a go. So now I'm just going to try to remove the pot that I have inside of there, and hopefully, yep, I have a nice little shape in there. So now I need to get this thing out of here, and this is going to be a little bit hard. Fortunately, because the grass is so well rooted, I feel like it should, you know, be what I can pull on and really get it out of there. So I'm just going to lay it down first. Oh yeah, that's coming out pretty easy. So now, there we go. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So there's still a lot of room for growth in here. And when I look at this, so it's not totally sucking everything up, but it's doing a number on it. So now I want to get it so that it's in the position. And hopefully I can just lift it in, drop it into place. Oh, it's a little bit, I think some of it may have collapsed. And nope, I'm breaking some petunias here. No, I broke some. Oh, see what I mean? The Truffula Pink got a little banged up. Oh, you know what? My plan is not working. It is not going down to where I want it. Okay, folks, plan B. We're going to pull it out, and I think I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Oh, man. Okay, let's see what happened here. So we're going to go back. Yeah, see, that all collapsed around the edge. I think it might be part of the reason might be because this mix is so dry. If I had a wet mix, I might have a little better luck. Okay. we'll try it again. Maybe I'll have better luck, maybe I won't. There, went in perfect this time. So it just kind of collapsed on me a little bit. Normally I don't have that much trouble, but at least you guys got to see that every single time I do this, it doesn't always go as planned. Because I've had really good luck in the other videos. Okay, so aside from that damage to the Truffula Pink Gomphrena, which sad to see this go, but hey, like I said, this one does grow back pretty quick. So I need to make sure and get a lot of water in this though, because this mix is so dry. I really don't want to have this suffer. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy the updates. I've got a couple more that I still have to show you. So those are on their way. You guys have a great time and I'll see you guys in the next video.